Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Gourmet Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. We are live on YouTube, X, Rumble, not Facebook as of the moment because they're being a little wonky, but we'll see if we can get that up and going here in a couple of days. So you guys know where to find us here on YouTube, X, and Rumble. We got Tim joining us from Green Bay. Tim, how you doing, big dog?
Happy to be here, man. Ready to talk some ball.
Let's get it. Let's get it done, man. We got a lot to cover here in a short amount of time. We're going to start off with what we were going to try to do last night, but we kind of ran out of time. We're going to do a little Devonte Wyatt chalk talk here. Now, I just want to tell everybody that's in the chat, be ready in case the stream goes down. If it does, you can still follow this live stream on X at Packers_access or Rumble. Rumble's the closest thing we got to YouTube in terms of you guys interacting in the chat, so I would prefer you go there if the stream goes down. The last 2 or 3 chalk talks we've done, it's been just fine and hasn't gone down. So just be ready for that. All right. And Tim, you got anything you want to say in terms of Devonte Wyatt before we dive into the tape here? We got some run stops. We got his sacks as well. I think all 5 sacks from last year. Anything you want to say before we dive into the tape, man?
Not really, other than I'm looking forward to looking at this tape because I think he might have got overshadowed a little bit last year, especially in the run fits with TJ Slayton out there. So with TJ being a Cincinnati Bengal right now, I think it's going to be fun to just kind of ISO and focus on Devonte Wyatt because he needs to take a big step this year. And I think he's fully capable of doing it. And he showed flashes. I think if he takes those strides and starts playing a little more under control as we move forward here, I think we're going to look good going in 2025. So looking forward to looking at some tape.
Yeah, heck yeah, man. It's going to be a blast. So again, guys, Devonte Wyatt, what we done here was we pulled his sack reps, and then we also went and pulled all of his run stops, essentially. Okay, so these are run stops and sacks. And the main thing I want people to key in on is obviously where is he aligning, right? What tech is he playing? And you're going to notice every now and again you'll see him playing the 1 tech or the 2-eye. Okay, so just keep an eye on that stuff as well. All right, and let's just jump right into it. So this first play here, obviously against the Indianapolis Colts, and listen, we're not going to waste a whole lot of time trying to break down what's the personnel, blah blah blah. We want to key in on technique, and we want to talk about the result of the play. So everybody on the podcast, hopefully we can keep this simplified to the point where this makes a lot of sense for you guys and gals who are listening the following day over on whatever your favorite podcast platform is. So let's dive into it, man. The first play here, Tim, we'll go 75%. We'll try to loop it when we need to, but he's going to be lining up right here. This to me looks like a 4, just a straight 4 tech. And what we mean by that, guys, again, if you're new here, if you're lined up directly over an offensive lineman, it's even numbers. Okay. So if you're lined up over the center, it's a 0 tech, right? If you're lined up over one of the guards, that's a 2 tech. And then if you're lined up over one of the tackles, straight up over one of the tackles, it's a 4 tech. Now you'll notice you're kind of splitting hairs here. Some would call this a 5 tech, Tim, where the center mass is kind of the outside shoulder. I think it's just as much a 4 as it is a 5, to be honest with you. You're kind of getting into splitting hairs. You'll notice this defender here is on what we call some would call that a 1 tech. Others would call it a 2-eye. You're lined up directly over the 2, but on the inside shoulder, right? So you could call it a 2-eye or a 1 tech. So when we talk about this nickel 4-2-5 look, this is what we're referring to, okay? Kenny played this position most of the time last year in our nickel 4-2-5. Devonte played what we call anywhere from a 4 to a 3 tech. Okay, it could be a 4-eye, it could even be a 5 tech if you want to get out wide here. Now you'll notice that they've got our boy LVN in a wide 9 3-point stance, and Igbare wide 9 on the opposite side. So essentially what you've got is one-on-one block. You're forcing a double team block here. One-on-one block with the guard, one-on-one block with the tackle. There's nobody in the backfield to help chip. Let's see what Devonte does on this play right here, working the 4. You see they shade over. What they're going to do is look to maybe get an extra hand on Devonte Wyatt and then bounce out and take care of LVM. But let's see what the play call is. This is kind of setting up, Tim. This is what we were talking about with the stunts last year, right? It's what you call a TE. Notice how Wyatt jab stepped in, and now he's going to work outside. LVN jab stepped out, and then he's going to loop around and protect this rush lane here on Anthony Richardson. Let's see how it unfolds. See the TE right here? And now you've got LVN kind of controlling that gap right there. And then notice Devonte Wyatt, again, the guy we're looking to watch on this play, just absolutely beats the lineman like a drum off the edge. Let's go 50 because that went pretty darn quick. Let's roll it back. And again, watch the TE. This is what you're talking about, getting pressure with just 4, right?
Yep.
Great job there. And again, little rip move too, gets hands on both blockers, speed around the edge, rip, and then almost got the strip fumble there too.
Yeah, good hands and good power there by Wyatt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really, Indy's left side of their line there, it's probably about as good as you can do against something like that with these two guys. You see Devonte getting held here a little bit at the end, but still fights through and gets to the quarterback. I love it.
Yeah, and if you'll notice LVN, he's actually rushing here, and it looks like he kind of gets a little too aggressive on the outside. Right here, you want him to stay close in, but when you really key in on it, they ran a double TE. Look at Enigbare. He's got eyes on Richardson right here, right? So he's protecting the rush lane. See how he's not really going after the quarterback there?
Yep. Occupying 2 blockers, though, for sure.
Going +1 in the hat count. It's the name of the game in football. All right, here we are against the Titans now. Once again, talking about where he's lined up. When you hear us say 3-tech, guys, this is what we're talking about. That's a 3-tech in between the guard and the tackle. So, again, who is playing the 1 here or the 2-eye? In this case, it's Carl Brooks. I would call that a 2-eye right there. So he's playing the inside shoulder of the guard. So, again, in the nickel 4-2-5, which is the defense we're in right here, you're looking for 1 defensive lineman to play anywhere from a 4, mostly a 4-eye to a 3-tech, and the other guy you're looking to play to a 2-eye to a 1-tech, all right? Carl Brooks was that dude when Kenny Clark came off the field last year, okay? Mm-hmm. So let's see what Wyatt does here. Now, once again, they're doing that little orbit motion out of the back, right? So who's going to set up the block here? You get the running back on this side, right? He'll probably be looking to chip Gary if they don't run some kind of game. And then you've got tackle bouncing out here on Preston Smith, guard going to settle in here on Devonte Wyatt. And most likely what's going to have to happen here, Tim, once again, you're dictating who is going to occupy the double team by lining up that 2-eye or that 1-tech. I love that they use Carl Brooks for that because let's be honest, Carl Brooks is not our best pass rushing defensive tackle. So when we talk about in the draft process and you got to have a dominant 3-tech, everybody thinks they've got a 3-tech. Very few teams do have a 3-tech. This is what we're talking about right here. With the 3-tech, you're forcing a single block. Now, if they were to have kept this guy on this side of the line of scrimmage, they could have helped chip, right? And now maybe you're getting you could get a little double team action there as well. But again, when you go 1-tech one side, 3-tech the other side, what you're hoping to do is get this 3-tech single block. Let's see if they run some kind of game here. Ball snap. It's just one-on-one. This is what you want to see with Wyatt. You want him one-on-one with an interior offensive lineman. And see if he beats him with speed or power here, Tim. He just kind of slowly walking him back and literally sacks the quarterback right through him. Now,
a little bit of both again, right? Speed and power there.
Now, when you go back again, watch Carl Brooks knowing he's going to be trying to occupy a double team here. Now, they actually run a little game.
They pulled the center on this one.
Yeah, pulled the center because they're looking to fake toss. They're trying to get a little too pretty. Now, notice Carl Brooks isn't going after the quarterback. I wanted to point this out because this is something that Hafley did a lot. Look at Carl Brooks. He's not trying to get to the QB. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
He just kind of patty cake, stay back and play it safe. Let's watch Gary on this play. Gary jumps in. All right, great job setting the edge right there, right? In case they decide this might have been an option play, to be honest with you.
It looked like he faked the pitch there, right here.
Definitely did, yeah.
Yep.
I think it was a fake the whole time, too. I like how Gary just kind of held his ground there as well. But, again, back to Devonte Wyatt. Just walk him back. Preston Smith, nice little rip move around the edge as well. But Devonte Wyatt with the sack there.
I think this was Preston Smith's last game as a Packer, wasn't it? I think he was traded after this game.
I think it might have been, Tim, if I remember correctly. And that was kind of one of the games where LVM broke out a little bit. I think they looked up and said, you know what? I think we're okay with LVM. Let's get Preston out of here. And he wanted to be traded too. It wasn't a good scheme fit. Guys, I'm showing bad connectivity in here. In the chat, let me know if anything's choppy on your all's end, okay? Let me know if the quality's good enough for us to do this because I don't want to waste your all's time And Tim, if you'll keep an eye on the chat there, if you can, just let me know what they say because,
Sure.
again, I want to make sure that good right now, Bates said. Okay, thank you, Bates. Appreciate you, buddy. All right, next play. Now, this gets me excited a little bit, Tim. You're noticing he's going to play a little bit closer now. So he's on the outside shoulder of the guard. So he's technically a 3 tech here. That's what you would call a 3. And then over here, Kenny, look at what he's playing, a 2-eye, right? So again, Devonte Wyatt 3 tech, Kenny Clark 2-eye. Let's see if he gets a little help blocking Devonte Wyatt here. It looks like they're going to show a little zone play fake, right? And they're going to pull it. Now look at Wyatt on this play. Notice how Wyatt's not being overly aggressive looking to get up the field. He's just kind of, all right, see how he's protecting the rush lane? That's what we're talking about. He still gets the sack on this play, but he's just protecting the rush lane there, right? Now, again, look at what Kenny's doing. Kenny Clark knows Gary should have triggered a hold call right there, by the way. But look, Kenny's going to get out here and contain because Gary's going in on an ET stunt. Devonte Wyatt's playing the touch spy. And then Enigbare, once he plays the run, he's going to try to contain outside on the opposite side. You've truly got one guy on that play rushing the quarterback. And this is what I'm talking about. Like when you'll hear people say, my God, LVN got blocked by a tight end, or Gary, these guys can't rush the quarterback. They're not pinning their ears back right here, guys. Gary is the only one who's truly going after the quarterback right here. And Wyatt's just playing it safe. All right, now let's get the quarterback down. You understand what I'm saying, Tim? You're muted, man. You may have been talking to me the whole time.
No, I was going to say you can definitely see it there with Devonte Wyatt. He's occupying that first blocker, but he's patient enough. Take him with you, get off, get to the next level, finish the play without being, like you said, overly aggressive here. It's just a great way to fight through a little double team here.
Now, with that being said, look at Enigbare now, Tim. Watch Enigbare on the right side. Tell me if you think he's rushing the quarterback. Look.
Nope.
Look at this. Just kind of lagging, right? I'm telling you, man. Quarterbacks don't know what to do with that,
That's part of the brilliance of Hafley's scheme when you really think about it is when you see things like this on tape because it's happening all over the field right now. This is a great example of everybody doing their job. Nobody getting too creative here and freelancing.
Yeah, and Tom Brady, somebody like Tom Brady would pick this apart. He'd go, there's no pass rush here. Let me just slide across away from Gary being double teamed. Instead, Will Levis, who just steps right up in the pocket enough for the Wyatt to go, you know what? That's close enough. Let me go ahead and finish this play.
Brady would have got rid of the ball like 3 seconds sooner. Ball would have been out already.
Yeah, he would already have the answer to the test for sure. All right, so there's another sack by Wyatt. All right, here we are against Seattle now. And look at what you got here, boys. We got us a 4 tech, just a straight up, head up 4 tech, right? And then on the opposite side, you've got another 4 tech, and then you got these wide 9s that we talk about, right? So again, you got 5-man protection. Somebody's going to be double teamed, right? Most likely, unless the center doesn't even attach to anybody. Let's see what the center does on this play. Really keying on the center. And again, Wyatt's over here in the 4, but let's watch the center for just a second. He's looking for work. Okay, Carl's going to bust in. But again, look at what Carl's doing once again. You see that touch spy? Yep. Notice how he's not just trying to get up the field. He's just protecting the scrambling lane. Now let's go back to Wyatt and watch him. Look at that spin move, boys.
Dude.
Geno Smith, like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this? Look at that.
I just love how it's like a spin move, but he sticks that right shoulder right into that guard. Watch here, right here, right shoulder, and then I'm spinning off. No answer for that. I love it.
Now watch LVN on the right side being double teamed, and look at him press the pocket. Look at that bull rush, right?
That's why we drafted him, right? His Iowa tape was full of that, right?
Watch the feet of the left tackle, guys. Watch his feet slide. Look at that. Just raw power. It took a second lineman to come in and hit him in the ribcage, and he still almost got to Geno Smith. But again, beautiful spin move there by Devonte Wyatt. So you've seen a couple moves now, right? You've seen speed rush outside with a rip move, speed and rip, right? We've seen him press the pocket. We've seen him play a touch spy and then use that quick burst to get to the quarterback. And now you're seeing him with a spin move. And here we are again, once again, Tim, looking like a 4, right? Looking a lot like a 4 to me. So you got 4 on one side, 4 on the other. You can do this a lot with passing situations. Now they got, I believe this is Gary, it looks like, is lined up in a little bit closer split. So when you go with a 4 and what I would call probably, let's see, it'd be a 5. I would call that a 7 tech by Gary, not quite a wide 9. Now, obviously, there's a wide 9 somewhere off the page over here, right? But when you put Gary in a 7 instead of way out here for a wide 9 and you put Wyatt in that 4 tech, you're really putting stress on this tackle, because if they both decide to rush outside, is that guard going to be able to kick over and help enough, right? But let's see if they run some kind of game. Usually when they do this, they run a game here. Let's see what happens. So Devonte is just going to bust in. Yep, see the game in the middle? So you had Carl Brooks. They ran a TT stunt, and what Carl Brooks did was slid over, bang the guard in the center, and then Wyatt finishes. Let's put it on loop here again. So again, watch. This is what Carl Brooks does really well, kind of sacrificing himself. Watch him come across the formation and crack that center. Bang. Right in the ribs. And then
that's
Wyatt's
everything right there, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Let's see if anybody comes off the wide side there on our left from our perspective. It's Enigbare. So, yeah, he's kind of holding his ground too. He's not trying to do too much. It's a controlled pass rush. But, again, in this case, you got a TT stunt in the middle. So, you got 94 coming across, bang, 95. Devonte Wyatt going to get to the quarterback. So, beautiful play there. And, again, that's all scheme there. There's nothing that Wyatt did that was overly fancy there, right? It was just halfway at the right time. You widen out that double 4 tech and have one crack over, hit the center, and then loop off of it. So, beautiful, beautiful play. All right, this case here against the Eagles, I love this. They were trying to go to some kind of silent count, I believe, if I remember correctly. Notice how the guard touches the center, and he's telling him, snap the ball now. So let's roll it back a little bit. It's what it looks like to me. Notice how the guard's looking at the quarterback, and as soon as the quarterback gives the kick, he's letting him know, all right, touch him. Nobody else move until the ball does, right? But, again, watch Wyatt and how quick he is here, Tim. They're going to give the ball to Saquon Barkley here. Now, we're always talking – we just showed you the 5 sacks. Let's show you what Wyatt can do against the run now. Look how quick off the ball. Look at that. Just a little swat move, beats a double team. Nowhere for Saquon to go. Hell of a run rep right there, man. Run D rep.
That's amazing.
Again, yeah, just splitting the double team, man. Splitting the double team. Just cross. Great job. And, people talk about TJ Slayton as, he eats double teams, He's single blocked right here, guys. They tried to double Wyatt, and Wyatt got the run stuff.
Yeah, but no help there.
Right.
TJ had an opportunity to throw a little chip there off the snap, but kind of just stuck with his guy. But great work by Devonte Wyatt. That little swim, it's like a half swat, half swim at the same time that he does.
Yeah.
Pretty nice move. I think his hands are kind of slept on, man. We talk about the power and the speed, but he's got good hands too, man.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, so now you're seeing Wyatt kind of affect the run game here a little bit. Let's move on to the next one. Back to the Colts game. It's going to be a run stop here, I would imagine. So let's see where he's lined up this time. Now we've got him back in the 3 tech, right? Again, 3 tech. Where's Kenny? Kenny's in the 1. So, again, I know there's people that thinks Kenny did not play nose last year. Kenny played nose in our nickel 4-2-5. He's the guy playing that 1 tech, that 1 to shade for the most part. So, again, here you got Devonte Wyatt in the 3. You got Gary out in a 7, could be a 9. And then you got Enigbare playing a little bit tighter this time. Let's see what the play call ends up being here. Wyatt, double team. Going to be an inside run play, right? So he gets double team. Watch him shrug this off and make the tackle. Once again, run rep, beats a double team, makes a tackle in the backfield.
Love it.
Yeah.
Great example of him just staying home, playing fundamentally sound, playing his game, and finishing the play there, not getting washed out.
Right, and this is what I was talking about, that his run reps looked a lot better last year. The year before, you didn't see this. You'd see him it was almost like, I flush what they call it. I'm just going to rush up the field and run right by the running back. Here you're seeing him play a little more at the line of scrimmage and playing with a little more patience. It just seems like I think they've seen that improvement in his run defense last year. I don't care. I don't give a damn what PFF says. I think they've seen this improvement in his run defense last year, they being the Packers. They said, we know he can rush the passer, as we talked about in the article last night, 97 percentile in pass rush win rate, if I remember correctly. So once he took that next step in the running game, all right, I think we got something here. Slap him with the 5th-year option. Let's see what he does this year. Maybe you go ahead and work on a deal if you can get the right price. But you've got his rights this year, and you can hit him with the franchise tag if need be next year as well. So loving what he showed in the running game last year. And again, guys, everybody graded out horrible in run defense, right? Something happened last year for us to be second in the league in yards per carry allowed. And this is another perfect example here, too. You're going to love this one. So this is kind of the Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, Matt LaFleur, KOC. This is a staple right here, especially early when Matt LaFleur got to Green Bay. This is going to be a zone left run at the goal line. So you're going to see everybody kind of blocked down here. The whole line is going to move to the left. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to give Aaron Jones, right, just a cutback. Like get out here wide and then use a cutback lane, right? You're just looking for a seam. The problem is Devonte Wyatt right here, guys. He absolutely owns this rep. Watch what Wyatt does in this goal line rep. So, again, where's he lined up here? I'd call it a 3. It could be a 4-eye, but I'd call it a 3 tech. Watch him. Watch how he gets lateral, Tim, and how quick he reads this. This is amazing. As soon as they shift, look at him get lateral, while still pushing upfield. There's the cutback.
Here's the guy.
That's a hell of a goal line rep for someone who supposedly can't play run defense.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, his first move off the snap was to his right. I mean,
Yeah.
he moved laterally before anything else.
Yeah. And again, you look at some of these reps and go, okay, when Kenny's gone, he can play that one tech. He can play that one tech in a nickel 4-2-5. The problem is you don't want him to automatically have to face a double team. You want to try to single him up as much as you can. But like you see in this goal line situation, man, this is a great run D rep right here by Wyatt.
You're absolutely right, because if he's not there or he slips or he jumps inside, that's a tutter. Yep.
Yeah. And you can tell Jonesy's looking for it. Let me find this seam. That seam ain't there, man. And
good
great
job by
pursuit.
Carl Brooks, too, on the back end as well.
And watch Quay. Look at Quay on this play, too. Patient, right? Where's the cutback right here? Get in there and help Wyatt out.
Yeah, you can almost see him like shading Devonte Wyatt a little bit just in case, kind of backing him up.
Definitely. So
yeah, that's beautiful.
Good solid run D rep there from Devonte Wyatt. All right, moving along. This should be another run D rep. All right. And this is against the Saints. Let's see where he's lining up. What we see in here, some will call it a 4. I'd go ahead and call it a 3 tech as wide as his base is right there. Let's see if he shifts at the last second. Now he's a 3 tech. So they're going to show some kind of zone right look here. Now, whether it is or not, notice how everybody's blocking down. You see that lean from every player, Tim. So they're going to go like zone right. And look at the eyes in the backfield. You see him peeking around the offensive lineman, right? He's trying to see who's got the ball. Devonte Wyatt is. Recognizes it's a running back and still beats the guy to the outside shoulder. Another great run rep right there. Again, watch him. Ball snap, recognizes it. Just going to keep his eye in the backfield. Now let's make our move. Great play right there. Great play. And again, Brenton Cox Jr., the thing he improved on his game last year was setting the edge. Look at him setting the edge over there, making sure he didn't get outside, right?
Yep.
That's something that's absolutely huge because that was a problem of his under Joe Barry. He would just rush straight up the field as well. So these are the type of run D reps you get when you've got a controlled pass rush. You're just not running around like a chicken with your head cut off trying to get into the backfield constantly, So,
absolutely.
Again, man, am I being too dramatic here? Or are you seeing the improvement in run D from Devonte Wyatt last year, man?
Definitely. It's right here. Even just these last handful of plays that we've looked at, you can see it. It's evident on the tape. I mean, it'd be fun to go back and just look at year one, and you can definitely see the improvement. If we went snap for snap, you can see he's made strides. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him this year for sure.
Me too, man. I love what Coach Lynn says here too. Look at how many guys we have on D swarming the ball in that last rep. That shows up on tape all the time. I completely agree. And we did not have that with Joe Barry. You could tell there was an emphasis, right? You get what you emphasize. Right? You're either what's the old, and I'm sure Coach Lynn's heard this or said this 1,000 times. You're either coaching it or you're allowing it, right? There's no in between. So it's obvious that they put an emphasis on swarming the ball too. So a lot of fun, man. A lot of fun seeing them take that next step. Now, again, do I wish they would have taken a D tackle in this draft? I don't know if wish is the right word. If they've got a first round grade, which we know they do now on Matthew Golden, hey, can't pass up on it, right? I mean,
Yep.
that's one of those things. And we knew that 3-tech was defensive tackle in general was very deep in this past draft. So I guess Goody looked at it like, hey, let's take a swing a little bit later. And obviously, it's all about how the board falls. So I would love to have seen him take, one of those top defensive tackles. That'd be awesome. But now after the draft and everything, we know that Kenny Clark was playing banged up all year. They were probably looking at it through the lens of Kenny's going to be way better this year because he's going to be healthy, right? And Devonte Wyatt took a step forward. So we're in a little bit better shape than that redneck from Tennessee thinks we are right now. So now when Kenny moves on, whether that's next year or the year after that, you gotta try to fill that void, right? Because I'm not expecting Warren Brinson to be that guy. Anytime anybody who's drafted outside of the third round, Tim, I'm like, man, if it hits, then it's a little bit of luck almost, right? But
sure. Luck and development, right? Some guys you do hit on, and they're just late bloomers, right?
Yeah, definitely, completely agree with that. All right, so there was your Devonte Wyatt chalk talk. Let's jump into a little Nate Hobbs conversation here. If I can get my computer squared back away here, man, we do chalk talk. I have to stretch the screen out and make it look all wonky. But let's jump into a little Nate Hobbs talk. Did a breakdown. Went and asked the old interweb, said, hey, man, give me just a very generalized breakdown of who Nate Hobbs is. Now, if you're in our Patreon group, you'll notice you've got access to the plays there, okay? So I went through in the chalk talk we're going to do on Nate Hobbs. You guys want to do your homework? Go watch this minute 30 clip. It's going to show all the plays we're going to break down, and you can chime in when we do chalk talk on it tomorrow. So I said, let's take a detailed look at cornerback Nate Hobbs. Again, if you want to join our Patreon community, this is just one of the perks. It's the best way to support what we do here for $3. You get access to everything like these articles and breakdowns we do on there. Patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access, or just stop over there. It's really, you can probably search Packer Fan Total Access on Patreon and find it as well. But here we go, man. Here's a breakdown of Green Bay Packers cornerback Nate Hobbs' strengths and weaknesses based on available information from his performance and scouting reports. All right, so strengths, physicality, and run defense. Hobbs is a physical downhill player who excels in run support with an 81.6 run defense grade from Pro Football Focus and 81 defensive stops, ranking 6th and 7th amongst cornerbacks, respectively. It's probably over the course of his career, I would imagine. Versatility, capable of playing both slot and boundary cornerback, having primarily played slot for the Raiders, but showing competence outside in 2022. This flexibility allows the Packers to adjust alignments based on matchups. I'm going to give you guys a little spoiler alert. Last year, it was slot heavy for sure. So I see him most likely playing in the slot and then kicking outside when we go to our base. That would be my guess. Tackling, recorded 281 career tackles, 200 solo over 51 games, averaging 5.45 tackles per game. That's second on the Raiders from 21 through 24. He led the Raiders secondary with 14 tackles for a loss during that span as well. So the big thing that's popping here, Tim, with the strengths is the run defensive tackling, right? The versatility, the physicality. Rookie impact. He earned PFF All-Rookie honors in 2021, starting 9 of 16 games and posting 74 tackles, 1 interception, 3 passes defended, demonstrating early NFL readiness. And it's crucial to key in on that, because when you're trying to evaluate a young player, Tim, what you're looking to do is you're looking to go in there and go, okay, we got to look at him through the lens of what does he do well as opposed to what does he not do. You want to put your player in a position to do what he does well, right? And if you're so overly focused on, well, he doesn't do this good, he doesn't do that good. Bill Belichick 101, I've talked about it time and time again. They were in a scouting meeting, and they were going through and scouting the players for the draft and scouting their own roster. And it's like, yeah, well, you can't do this, you can't do that. They said Belichick threw his pen down and said, I could care less about what he can't do. Tell me what he can do. What can he contribute to the team? So when you go to a young player, you're looking at, okay, what is it he can do well? You grade him at his best, right? You're looking at what does he do well. There's some people that get caught up in watching tape, and they're just keyed in on the negative. Oh, he struggled here, he struggled there, he struggled there, he struggled there. Coaches aren't looking at that stuff as much. They're looking at what can they bring to the table, right? Now, does it mean that they don't critique them? They grade every snap, absolutely. But the people that focus in on doing low light, what we call low light instead of highlight film, and breaking the tape down like that, yeah, to me, you're just wasting your time. But again, where did he peak at? His rookie year, he looked phenomenal, Tim. I guarantee you they went back and watched that rookie tape, and they said, that's the dude we got to pull back out of him, right? And we'll talk about the contract here in a minute. We get ready to wrap this up. I just want to point that out. His rookie year, I mean, PFF all rookie honors. That was a solid campaign there. Competitive mentality, known for a fearless underdog mindset. Hobbs plays with heart and resilience, exemplified by returning to a game with a broken hand in 2022 to support his teammates who got that dog in him. Zone coverage recognition, shows good instincts and activity in spot drop zone coverages with quick recognition to break up passes in front of him. That was what was on the tape the most that we're going to break down on Chalk Talk tomorrow. Tim, those are the strengths. We'll get your thoughts here, man. What do you think about the strengths before we dive into the weaknesses in this scouting report? You're muted, brother. I know you're trying to help us out. I appreciate you, man. You're working your tail off over there, dude.
The best thing that I've taken away from this is the last thing that's mentioned here is the zone coverage recognition, good instincts and activity in spot drop zone. I mean, that's kind of what Hafley is asking our corners to do, right? You're playing a little spot drop, you're playing zone sometimes, you're playing off ball coverage. Every once in a while you're pressing up, we're getting man looks, right? But the fact that he brings that to the table going into year 5 is awesome. And then competitive mentality, fearless underdog mindset. I mean, that sounds like every other corner that we have right now. That sounds like Keyshawn Nixon. That sounds like Carrington Valentine. I think he's going to fit in just fine, honestly. And I mean, the injury thing, hey, I'm not, we're going to get to that, he's injury prone. It's like, well, we saw what, injury prone cornerback play looks like the last couple of years with my boy, Mr. Alexander. I don't think Nate Hobbs is going to be that much of a risk when it comes down to it. I think he's really coming into his own here in year 5 and playing in Hafley's scheme with these corners. It's going to be fun to watch. Whether he's in the slot or on the boundary, it doesn't matter. It's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah. H.E. Solder says if we can get slightly above average cornerback play in 2025, we should be very good. That's the thing too. Like, it amazes me how there's a portion of the fan base that they talked absolute crap about Jair and he was never on the field. He's never on the field. Then the second we let him go, it's what are we going to do without Jair? It's like, we didn't have him. What are you talking about?
Watch tape from last season. You'll see.
Yeah. So the only difference from our secondary really is you added Nate Hobbs. That's what you did. You added Nate Hobbs. So what it's going to come down to is Nate Hobbs taking over at slot for Bull, or is he going to play outside and take over for Keyshawn, right? Or are we going to push Carrington Valentine to the bench and have him rotate in? I think all those things are on the table, Tim. I hope Carrington's out on the field. I want to know after this year, yep, that dude, we need to re-sign him. That's the real guy. But if he's on the bench and we can't get another good look at how well he may or may not perform, that's going to bother me a little bit. So hopefully I'm with you, Soder. If we can get slightly above average cornerback play in 2025, we should be very good. I completely agree. 2-0 for this. This hit the nail on the head for me too. He says, I trust our scouts. Whatever they see in Hobbs, I'm in. When they signed him, 2-0 for this, and I looked at the money, and the money's not crazy. And when you dive into the contract, you can get out of it after a couple of years. But when they signed him, that told me how high they were on it, right? And again, when you sign a free agent, most of the time what these GMs do is they immediately go back to their draft grades. Like, we've got a database that we're collecting now. We're 2-3 years in with spreadsheets of our drafts. So guess what's going to happen? When we sign a free agent next year, if it's somebody who was, has been was in the draft within the last 2 or 3 years and we got them in our database, we're going to go back. Here's the draft grade we had on them, right? We did that with Kamal Hadden when they signed him, if you'll remember. So that's what the teams do. They immediately go back. All right, what's the draft grade? Then they go and watch the tape of the player. All right, what have they done in the NFL? What did they ask him to do? Was he put in a position to do what he does well? You break it down that way, so you're going to grade the NFL tape. You got your scouting grade from the NFL draft, and that's where you're going to make an educated decision on whether you're going to sign him. And like what 2-0 for this says, I trust our scouts. Also trust Goody and Russ Ball for the money they gave him. That says a lot. It's just like Aaron Banks, Tim. People look at Aaron Banks and say, oh, he wasn't that good. Why was he not good? Why was he not good? Well, the PFF grades. Okay, got you. Why was he not good? Other than the PFF grades, right? You're literally just looking at a number on a spreadsheet. That's all you're doing, right? Why was he not good? Did he allow a lot of sacks? No, he only allowed 1 sack. Okay, so that checks the box. Can he get to the second level and duo? Can he be somewhat mobile to get out there and do the things we want to do in the running game? Yeah, it's all over the tape. You can see him getting 20 yards down the field and throwing a lead block, right? So that checks the box. Why are we so caught up in the PFF grade in which there's this mysterious human being that told us he's bad at football, right?
Right.
And that's why it's important to watch the tape, look at the advanced metrics, look at the EPA allowed and things like that, look at the sacks allowed, look at the PFF grade, and then come up with a kind of a collective, here's what we think he is, right? So Coach Land in the chat says that may be the steal in the next 2 years for Hobbs. Again, we'll see, man. We'll see. And again, I think here's the thing we got to look at, right? Is Hobbs better than Valentine? Based off his rookie tape, absolutely, right?
He's a little younger too, right? That doesn't hurt.
Right. Here recently, I'd say Carrington Valentine played better last year, but you're comparing kind of apples to oranges with him playing outside and Hobbs playing in the slot. So you got to kind of take that with a grain of salt. Is Hobbs better than Keyshawn Nixon? I feel comfortable saying he is. I do. Right? Maybe not like crazy better, but he's better, right? Is he better, obviously, than anybody outside of that on down the depth chart? Absolutely. So it's not like we're going in there going, hey, this is a number 1 corner. They didn't pay him like a number 1 corner. They really, what they paid him like, Tim, was a number 2 corner is what they paid him like. Like, hey, this is going to be your second best corner, on your roster. So, yeah. All right, let's move on to weaknesses real quick. We'll rapid fire through these. I noticed there's looks like there might be, let's see, there's 5 weaknesses, and there were 6 strengths. So that's a good sign. Injury history. Hobbs has struggled with durability, missed the 17 games over 4 seasons, including 6 in 2022 with a broken hand and 8 in 23 through 24 with ankle injuries. His ankle issues are particularly concerning for recurrence. I'll say this too, with the injury history, they broke it down. He played significantly more games than Jair in the last 4 years since he's been in the league. So
we just need a couple extra rolls of spat. He'll be all right. Just wrap them ankles up.
Absolutely. Coverage consistency, allowed 9 touchdown passes with a 102.1 passer rating against over his career, with some struggles in man coverage, particularly against quicker receivers. When you go back to the strengths, Tim, what did it talk about? One of his strengths, zone coverage recognition.
Yep.
And now it's listing a weakness as man coverage. Good thing we don't play a lot of man coverage, right?
Yep.
Kind of fits the scheme and what your eyes on the quarterback type player. Missed tackles, has a 15.7% missed tackle rate, 50 career missed tackles, which can be a liability in open field situations. So, it depends on what you look at with the numbers, right? You can look at the way he tackles, and you'll see it on the tape tomorrow when we break that down. The way he plays with physicality in the run game, you can look at it and go, that's a strength of his game. But then you look at the missed tackle rate. First of all, where did that missed tackle percentage come from? What website? What plays? It's a very blanket statement. I'm not saying it's inaccurate, but that's something that
I love the caveat too, which can be a liability in open field situations. Yeah, well, if you look at the scheme he's about to play in, we just talked about guys rallying to the ball carrier. We don't put our corners in too many situations where they got to be by themselves. If you can wrap up and get contact, you're going to have somebody there backing you up pretty quickly. So, not overly concerned.
Limited ball production, only 3 interceptions and 19 passes defended in 51 games, indicating he's not a high takeaway generator despite solid coverage snaps, 31 catches for 280 yards allowed in 2024. And we'll get into the passer rating when targeted last year as well. Adjustment to outside role. While versatile, Hobbs has primarily played slot except in 2022, and transitioning to a full-time outside cornerback role could expose weaknesses. Based off the tape I've watched, and the tape that we're going to break down tomorrow is last year's tape. We could go back to the rookie year and just droll over it. But, guys, that was 3 years ago. I want to know, what have you done here recently type thing. To me, he looks like a slot corner. Now, I know he's not going to say that. He's already said, I'll play safety, I'll play outside, I'll play wherever they want me to play, right? That's that attitude that we talk about. But I think he's best suited in the slot, me personally. So going on to the PFF grade. So last year he ended up finishing with a 61.4 defensive PFF grade. By week here, you'll notice he missed time after week 9. He missed until week 15 where he came back for 15 and 17. PFF grades by week there, 76, 65, 56, 56, 61, 44, 79, 57, 67, 55, 55. Now, when you notice where he played right cornerback week 1, and then he played in the slot for the next, 6 or 7 games, played strong safety for a couple of weeks. You got some versatility there, not that we need it. Then he was back in the slot and then back at strong safety. So when you key in, if we're going to play him at the slot, his right cornerback grade there in week 1 was a 76. That's pretty solid on the outside, right? The only game where he played outside. And then you had the 79.9. His second highest graded game was against the LA. I'm not sure if it was the Chargers or the Rams. It usually has a letter there for. Imagine it's the Rams because they got LAC at the top. Yeah. So against the Rams, he was covering the slot, which is pretty good receiving core there. 79.9 was his grade. So his coverage grade in that game was an 83.4. When you look at the tackle grade, again, the second part of that scouting report, Tim said his missed tackle rate. Look at his tackle grade, 78, 72, 56, 30, 30, 33, back up to 82, 80, back down to 28, 26, and then back up to 77. So you want to see a little more consistency there, but you're seeing a ceiling of 82, but a floor around 26 in that regard. So
I'll take it.
Yeah. And then going on to his season grades, again, when he came in the league, 79.1 his rookie year, played 837 snaps. So it's not a small sample size, right?
Yep.
In 2022, he drops down to a 60.9. 2023, he jumps back up to a 69.0. Last year, he fell back to a 61.4. So what you're probably going to get here, if you were to average those out over the course of the 4 years, you're probably looking at about a 65 grade. Probably looking at a player that's going to grade out about 65 with a ceiling of 79 and a floor of 60.9. His run defense grade his first 3 years, too, Tim, were solid, man. 78, 75, 78. Last year it dipped to a 62. Tackle grade been in the 50s, the 40s, and the 30s pretty much his entire career. So now this is kind of hard to read here. I don't even know if I can see it, to be honest with you. Let me kill my cam so y'all don't get freaked out with me up in here in the camera. Let's see if I can read off his numbers here, okay? So play percentage last year, it's showing, I think, 79%. And the thing I wanted to key in on the far right column there, if you guys can see it, if not, I'll just read it to you. He had the third best passer rating when targeted amongst the Ps. There was only 12 snaps for the guy who led, so that's why I'm going to say third. But he finished with a 71.9 passer rating when targeted. If I remember correctly, that would give him the second best passer rating when targeted on our team based off of the 2024 PFF grades. Or not the PFF grades, but the 2024 stats, Tim. So basically, Carrington Valentine had the best passer rating when targeted. Then it was Nate Hobbs. Then it was Keyshawn Nixon. Then it was Javon Bullard. So that passer rating when targeted, pretty solid there. That's the thing that sticks out to me the most there, man.
Yeah, I would agree. And that's where you want those numbers, right?
Yep.
Like, we'll take it. And I can you scroll up just a little bit? There was something else that caught my attention.
Yeah.
You talked about him playing a little strong safety.
Yeah.
The numbers aren't horrible. I mean, the grades could be better, but it seems like he tackled better when he was playing safety.
It does look like that, right? Yeah. It makes sense if you're being asked to play a lot of man coverage too.
True,
right?
true. But then again, we hear that he struggles with man coverage. So it's like maybe this guy is just the true definition of a versatile secondary player. You can play him strong safety. You can play him in the slot. You can play him on the boundary. You know, he'll roll up his sleeves and he's willing to do whatever. That's an added bonus to me. And then one other thing, can you go up to the weaknesses again there?
The weaknesses?
Yeah, right here. Limited ball production. Only 3 interceptions, 19 passes defended in 51 games, indicating he's not a high takeaway generator despite solid coverage snaps. Meaning, what do we always say when it comes to corners? If they're not calling your number, if you don't hear his name, it's probably because he's playing good ball. You know, maybe he's not getting a lot of takeaways because that quarterback's looking over there and that receiver is covered and there's nowhere to go with the football. I'll take that. I that's one of those intangibles that doesn't show up on the stat sheet, right? How many times that you weren't targeted because you're blanket covering your man. So I think it's important to kind of take those kind of stats with a grain of salt.
Yeah, completely agree. All right, moving along. He did have an interception last year as well. So moving along to the contract here, I just want to hit this real briefly. to kind of give you guys an idea. Let me see if I can get it where y'all can see it a little bit better. Excuse me. So in year one, the cap hit is only $5.9 million. Next year, it jumps to $13 million. But notice where the potential out is, guys. Right there, potential out 2026. So essentially, they can get out of that contract after 1 year and be okay with that. Now, I would rather them at least commit to 2 years with Nate Hobbs. And the reason being is notice the cap hit. The cap hit in 2026 is $13 million. The dead cap is $12 million. So you're only freeing up about $1 million, a little less than $1 million if you cut bait after 1 year, right? So I'd rather have him on the roster, not at that cap number. You could restructure and try to do a little cash over cap and free up some money there. But notice the roster bonus, right? The roster bonus is $6.2 million for that year. So again, if you go down 2026 right here, it gives details. 2026 roster bonus $6.25 million on the third league day of 2026. So if he's not on the roster, then that 6.2 he does not get paid. That makes sense. So when you get to the 2027 season, Tim, this is where you're looking at when I said, usually you sign a 4-year deal, it's a 3-year deal. In this case, a 4-year deal is a 2-year deal. And you're seeing that more often. Like Packers kind of did that with Josh Jacobs as well. When they signed him to his 4-year deal, we talked about it immediately. Okay, it's just going to be really a 3-year deal. If it don't pan out, you can get out after 3 years. You look at the contract, go, really, you can get out after 2. So I know it's showing the potential out as 2026, but the spot that makes the most sense for me, man, is 2027. The reason being his cap hit is $14 million, but the dead cap is $8 million. So you're going to be able to free up, $6 million if you move on from him in 2027. Again, I hope we're not having to have that conversation, Tim. I hope he pans out and we're like, hey, we're bringing him back. But Goody kind of built the floor there, right? Yeah. Raised the basement up just a touch, knowing that Jair's probably going to be gone. And I kind of like how they did that. And
maybe it's a new sign of new trends too with GMs with the cap getting bigger every year. We talk about this, right? So you're going to start to see these deals structured a little bit differently as we go forward.
Yep, definitely. All right, so that's your Nate Hobbs breakdown. Again, you can find that over in our Patreon group, and go watch that tape right there at the top, guys. Right, and then when we get back together tomorrow night, we will do a Chalk Talk segment for that tape right there. And again, that's at patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. So, Tim, that's pretty much all I got, man. I wanted to break down the Wyatt tape. I was starting to do it last night, but I was like, man, I want to wait on Tim. I want to wait on the guys, see if they can get in here, because I know y'all like to watch the tape as well. So, anything you want to add to that conversation between Devonte Wyatt's Chalk Talk or Hobbs' little breakdown there?
No, I'm glad we did it, man. Thanks for waiting. And then we'll do Nate Hobbs Chalk Talk tomorrow, right?
That's the plan. Yeah, we'll do Nate Hobbs Chalk Talk tomorrow. We got a Josh Jacobs Chalk Talk heat up. That's a lot of fun, man. That's a lot of fun. No touchdowns in that reel. We removed all the touchdowns. He just had the explosive plays. So runs of 10 yards or more. Man, it was a lot of fun to break that down. So we'll get into that. I'll put another Chalk Talk together tomorrow. If you guys would in the Patreon group, do me a favor. It could be in the general chat or wherever. Just put Chalk Talk or Chalk Talk requests. Okay. And I obviously we can't get to all of them, but if there's a name that pops up multiple times, we'll queue up the next Chalk Talk to watch some of the tape on whichever player y'all would like to see. So we'll do that. All right. That's it. We're going to get out of here, guys. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. If y'all would, hit subscribe if you're new here. Appreciate you making us a part of your evening. Everybody who's in the house right now, hit that like button. It helps more than you know. I hate to ask, but it really, really, really does help the channel. It immediately boosts the algorithm and helps other people find this. I couldn't tell you how many times I got messages going, dude, how long you been doing this? I'm like, yeah, we've been doing it about 3 years. Like, I had no idea this existed. Man, I don't study the algae. You know what I mean? I can't crack the algae because I'm too busy breaking down tape and stuff. But Too Old for This says Daniel Whelan Chalk Talk. Tim, I would actually be okay with that.
Dude, I'd be down for that. Let's watch a few 60-yard punts, right? No big deal.
Yeah, exactly.
And him flying down the field, laying somebody out too. Gotta love that.
Oh yeah. Greg Rice says a short show on my birthday eve. Sad face. Sorry, Greg, man. I know it's your birthday, and I hope you have an awesome, awesome birthday. But I'm trying to protect my marriage over here, man. She's like, "This is the slow time of the year, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Why are you doing a show every day?"
Because we're a fan every day, right?
I can't get away from it. Man. I love it. I just love getting in here talking ball with everybody. It's a blast.
Yes,
Holmes MD1 says, Orzik Chalk Talk. There you go.
Sit your butt outside.
I can't do the long snapper Chalk Talk. Can't do it. All right. And then, of course, Sofa King Cool. Everybody changing their name now. I can't keep up. Who did this used to be? I remember the profile pic.
Yeah, the pic looks familiar.
Unbelievable. Anyway, he says mock draft. No mock draft. Sofa King Cool. You're going to get us canceled over here. So, all right, we're out, guys. Everybody have a wonderful day. Everybody listening on the pod, thank y'all so much for supporting what we do here, man. Y'all, the downloads, the downloads, and just the unique views and everything, or listens that it gives us the stats on. You guys are crushing it. Really, really appreciate y'all supporting us. So that's it, Tim. Thank you for your time, man. We'll see you tomorrow. As always, guys, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world, and go Pack.
Here we go. We out.
Bye, guys.